Hopefully, hopefully. There we are.
It looks
Uh,
live.
yeah, we're doing it. Gosh, this technology is amazing, isn't it, Will?
Yeah, it
So,
is.
yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm David from Correct Handed Comics, correcthandedcomics.com. Don't get left out. And this is our next episode of Out of Left Field, where we talk about weird stuff or fun stuff or pop culture stuff or comic book stuff or whatever kind of stuff. It doesn't really matter. I am lucky enough today to have a good friend of mine, Will Lannon, is an actor, writer, director, and producer, and occasional film judge. We're going to have to talk about that from Syracuse, New York. Everybody, please welcome Will Lannon. Hi, Will. Thanks for coming on.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, it is my pleasure, my honor to have you on. Just to give everybody a little backstory here, we met. What do you think it was about 4 or 5 years ago now?
I want to say 2017,
That sounds.
2018,
Oh my gosh, was it really?
AnchorCon.
That sounds about right. Yeah, about yeah. So maybe even a little bit longer than what I was thinking. But we just started talking about comic books and scripts and brainstorming, and we would just stand there during conventions and just talk up a storm about everything and anything. And we've been lucky enough to keep up our friendship here for a few years, and I'm lucky enough to have you on the show. And today we're going to be talking about horror. And when we've talked about this, you and I've talked about the theme here for the show. We talked about essentially being horror movies. But as I'm sitting here talking about it, and we're starting the show, it can be any kind of horror. We can talk about horror TV shows, talk
Yeah.
about horror books, talk about like Stephen King, stuff like that. We'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
able, we'll be able to fill up more than an hour here. Will, I am not concerned. So let's give us a pitch on stuff you've got going, what you are working on, and then we'll start diving into cool horror stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. Um, so right now I've just started going back to school,
Mhm.
like Rodney Dangerfield,
Nice.
if you remember that old
I
gem.
didn't know you were a diver. Oh wait, is that the right one? Yeah, that's the right one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the right one.
I didn't know you were a diver. Pretty multi-talented, man.
Yeah, I'm going back for computer animation. Thought I would expand my career options in the film industry.
Nice.
Yeah. This month I at random, like, I took a job doing like background extra work.
Hmm.
So like many years ago, like I went to just like an open casting call, wrote my name and email address down, phone number, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, if there's ever anything like going on in the area. So they just like put me on a list, and I'll randomly get text messages or emails saying, hey, are you available to do this? And usually I'll click yes and like never hear anything again. So earlier this month I got one, and I was just like, yeah, sure, I'm available. And I actually got a reply back saying, okay, we're sending you an email to confirm the details. This is,
Yeah.
some things that you might want to wear and be here at this time. And I was like, sure, I'm probably working on some SU students like film thesis project.
Yeah.
Nothing big to worry about. Joke was on me when it came to sign up for the payroll,
Mhm.
because I had to be Taft Hartley'd, which is basically the SAG union rules
Mhm.
that apply to non-union actors so that
Mhm.
they can work on a union shoot.
Sure.
We get into filming it, and like as the days go on, I notice bigger stars are a part of this movie, and I keep thinking like, oh, what the hell did I sign up for?
Nice. How long were you on set?
I did 13 days.
That's pretty awesome. And just kind of like random background stuff.
I was like a background extra, whatever the term.
Mhm.
That it's pretty interchangeable. Uh, so I don't know how much of it I'm actually allowed to divulge.
Sure.
Um, but essentially the basic plot is students who were in high school, their the school gets destroyed,
Okay.
and then a law was passed, so they have to go back to finish their senior year in order to officially graduate.
Okay.
So it's all mid 30s to almost 40-year-olds in a school setting.
Nice. So this is a comedy, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay, nice. That sounds. Can you give us one of maybe not the biggest star? You probably have like an NDA where you're not allowed to say who's involved in any of it.
Yeah, I don't.
This could be breaking news right now and out of left field.
Off the air, I could probably tell you the biggest star, but yeah,
somebody we would know.
There is definitely at least a few household names.
Nice, male and female.
I'm assuming. Yes.
Nice. All right. Well, I won't push too far on that. That's exciting. I can't wait to hear more about it, and can't wait to see on the big screen. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I can say it's going straight to Hulu.
Hey, our TVs now are big screens, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's super exciting. I can't wait to hear more about that off the show. So, so let's talk about horror.
Yeah.
First of all, couple questions before we start the whole thing. Before we just start diving into the whole thing, what is your favorite horror book that you've ever read?
That is a fantastic question.
Oh, thanks.
Usually when I tell people like, yeah, I went to film school, I really like movies, the top question I always get is, what's your favorite film? Mm-hmm. And I always hate that question because there's so many different genres.
Don't ask that next question. Got it.
No. Horror book. I'm a huge fan of Stephen King.
Sure.
So I would say he's got some classics. So I'm going to say like maybe a more recent one of his that I read would be The Outsider.
Okay. I don't know if I've read The Outsider, like fairly recently.
In the last, I don't know, 5 years.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
It got an HBO adaptation.
Oh, did it? Okay.
I think Jason Bateman was in it.
Okay. I'm gonna have The Outsider. I'm gonna have to check that out. Now that you're saying it out loud, now it's starting to ring a bell. Yeah, but I would say that the last Stephen King book I read was it gosh, I'm gonna mess up the name, but it's a pretty simple title, but I just always kind of get it lodged around in my memory. I think it was called Tomorrowland.
Okay.
Where a guy is taking care of an amusement park, or working in an amusement park, and he falls in love with this woman, and there's this whole thing about somebody dying in the amusement park and a ghost in there. It's a fairly straightforward, just kind of like coming of age story until the last 2 chapters, and then it's bonkers. It is bonkers, but really fun stuff. Yeah, I would say like his older stuff, Pet Sematary, Tommyknockers. Oh, yeah. You can't really get much better than that, can you? Misery,
right? Misery is fantastic.
Such a good book. Such a good book. Even his short stories, like the collection of short stories from like where Stand By Me, which was The Body originally, the short story was from, and Shawshank is from. Those stories. Like, first of all, I love them because I'm not the fastest reader in the world. Because my brain, like when I'm reading, I'll read a paragraph and then I'll continue the story in my brain instead of just reading what the artist. I hope they do this. So I hope they do this. I hope they do this. So I'll stop and then I'll realize, oh, I read a paragraph and it's been 45 minutes. Let me keep reading the book that I'm supposed to be reading.
Right.
So, but I really like his short stories because they're so like succinct and so like they move and they move and they move. But yeah, Stephen King is pretty awesome. Give me who's your second favorite horror author? I'm sitting here. I don't know if I can name another just flat out horror author that's as well known as Stephen King. Can you think of one?
Oh, gosh. I mean, there are the classics. I mean,
Mm,
you could say Poe or
Edgar Allan
I
Poe.
mean, yeah, Mary Shelley.
Nice.
Um,
Yes.
to an extent, Gaston Leroux,
Okay. I don't know if I know him. What's his most famous
Phantom,
band? Okay.
Phantom of the Opera.
Okay. You made me smarter. I love it. I love it. That's great. And the Edgar Allan Poe one was an obvious one. Gosh, I don't even know why I wouldn't think about that one, but that's great. Sometimes you just like when you're sitting here talking, you're like, I can't think of anything
Right,
that's
but
connected
you
with that.
always want to go through like you would always want to think of something that was like modern and the last, you wouldn't immediately jump to, oh, 100, 200 years ago.
Yeah. I appreciate you making me feel better about that. Thank you so much. Okay. So uh, I think there are so many different genres of horror.
Mhm.
Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
What would you say is the oldest horror movie, like production wise, like the earliest made horror movie you've ever?
Um, I think it's Haxon.
Okay, I don't know that one. Tell me about that one.
It's a black and white silent film that
Mhm.
was presented as a documentary about witchcraft.
Nice.
It's in the Criterion collection.
Okay.
The date on it, you'd have to look it up, but it's probably the 20s.
Okay. Haxton.
Yeah.
Haxton. Okay. I'm gonna write that down. Haxton. I bet you can find it on Tubi.
Probably. It's in the Criterion collection, so I know one place it'd probably be streaming would be the Criterion channel.
Nice. Good stuff. It's essentially, is it like Salem witch trials, or is it just like an overview of witchcraft altogether in this documentary mockumentary style?
Yeah, sort of a just like the history from like the lore of witches to, like their connection to like Satan
Okay.
and devil worship
Oh,
and
okay.
all of that.
The typical things they immediately go to with witchcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I would compare it to sort of like a pre-reefer madness take on like to scare people away from witchcraft.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. I see. I'm gonna check that out. How is what would you say is the length? Like, what's the runtime?
Okay, so I pulled it up on IMDb.
Hmm.
It's from 1922.
Nice.
Uh hour 31 minutes.
Okay.
Written and directed by Benjamin Christensen,
Nice.
Swedish filmmaker.
Would it have to be?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
But yes, a fictionalized documentary showing the evolution of witchcraft from its pagan roots to its confusion with hysteria in Eastern Europe.
Nice. Nice. You've convinced me. I'm gonna have to watch this weekend, holiday week or Halloween weekend now, especially with Halloween coming up here. So, what would you say? So I would say that the whole it's a pretty standard answer, I guess. But the original Nosferatu, have you ever? I'm sure you've seen it.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think that the original Nosferatu stands up, maybe compared to this one, Haxon that you were talking about, or to maybe even movies from the like 50s and 60s that would be a little bit more considered more horror? How do you think that original Nosferatu stands up?
I think it stands up uh pretty well and might be even superior to some of the things that were in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think there are still little parts of it that are a little hard to get to. You kind of got to like get to the next step sometimes. I think it's super spooky. I
Yeah.
think it's really cool. If it's Halloween night and you're put a black and white movie on, it's got in the dark, it's got to be Nosferatu. just because it's so great. There's another one that I'm thinking of, The Bad Seed, but it's not the one with Macaulay Culkin.
Okay.
The one with Macaulay Culkin. There's one, and this is from the 1940s, with a little girl, pigtails, blonde, and all stuff, and just murders people left and right. It's really fun. And I watched that probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And every once in a while, I'm like, I need to pop this back in. I need to watch this thing again because it was pretty spooky and pretty good. Do you ever go on to Tubi and watch?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So they have so much good stuff. Is there anything that you've seen on there that you hadn't heard of? They're like, I'm just gonna watch this right now, and clicked on it. That was horror based. It doesn't really have to be horror based.
That's how I found the third Popeye horror film.
Yeah,
because I had heard of Popeye the Slayer Man,
mm-hmm.
and then there was Popeye's Revenge,
Nice.
which I believe was produced by the people that did like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey,
mm-hmm.
and their new like Bambi and Pinocchio horror takes. But yeah, Tubi introduced me to Shiver Me Timbers.
Great name, right? Great name. What
a name like that? I mean, it could go horror, it could go maybe adult film. We don't know.
Could be a little bit of both. I mean, it could be a little bit of both, right? Right. Yeesh. There was one that I saw, Robert Mitchum, and I'm trying to look up the movie right now, but I saw it and it was a pretty. First of all, before I skip over that one, there were so many that I saw that are referenced in comics that people don't know about. The Man Who Laughs. Have you ever seen The Man Who Laughs?
Yep.
Boy, I watched
the
that.
Inspiration for the Joker.
Yeah, inspiration for the Joker. Such a so creepy, so visual, just kind of like glided through the whole thing, that it was one of the ones that I saw. And when I think I saw it on TikTok or something where somebody was talking about the inspiration for the Joker and said, I'm like, I bet that's on one of these streaming services. And I watched it. I was kind of blown away at how, like, now we see the Joker and we're like, yeah, the Joker, sure. But the way that this was shown, the way this was like produced and displayed was, I think, a scarier Joker than any Joker that's ever been Jokered.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there any other that you can think of that are shown more? I can think of one horror that is like referenced a lot, but it's not a very old one. But I won't say it until you say it, so I don't steal yours. I'm putting you on the spot, so if you can't think of one, that's okay.
Yeah, you know what? Say yours first because it might jog my memory. I don't know.
So I would say Jaws.
Okay.
What would you consider that, a horror?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, it's in the realm of yeah. But I think that's referenced so much in so many, even just like the music wise and the character beats for characters. Like if you look at something like we just rewatched Scream, some of the aspects, you know what I mean, are very similar because the guy, and it's all horror movies, but while you do see the Scream guy, he's kind of like in and out. Just like, and I guess that's every single. You could say that for Mike Myers. You could say that for Jason Voorhees or his mom. You could say that for any of those. But I think that the character beats are super, like, I guess, cliche at this point. I guess.
True, and well, you could look at the shark of Jaws as just, you know, it's hard to even classify him as a villain because it's just an angry shark.
Yeah.
Like it's a predator. Everything else is prey.
Sure.
But if you add in like the music beats, the way that they show him sporadically in and out, the fact that it takes so much to try to kill the shark, just like with any of like these great slasher villains, it does lend like an almost supernatural bend to the shark.
Yeah, yeah. That clearly continues on through Jaws 2, Jaws 3D, Jaws The Revenge, Jaws 4, to the point where they just like it's voodoo. We going after it. I don't think they actually said that in the movie, but in the book, in the adaptation, I believe they were like, we need to kind of explain why these sharks are like just hunting this one family. So they made it voodoo or something like that, if I remember correctly. So would you say that the shark starts as just a natural force, and then as the series moves on, becomes more of a purposeful predator?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that.
Purposeful predator. I'm write it down. What would you say purposeful? What would you say is your favorite genre of horror? I know horror is a genre, but there's, I think, different subsects of.
Yeah.
If you were able to pick your favorite genre of horror, what would it be?
I mean, I like Supernatural. But I think one of my first favorite was probably just slasher.
Sure. When you say, we'll go to slasher, yes, but when you say supernatural, do you mean something more like Blair Witch Project that has a supernatural aspect of it, as
like
not
like a haunting film, or
Gotcha.
or even I'd lump The Exorcist in there.
Okay. Nice. Your favorite, gosh, you keep saying things. I keep coming up with questions. Your favorite, and we'll get to 8 or slashers in a second. But what would you say is your favorite, like, paranormal ghost horror movie?
One that's probably not too popular. I would say is 13 Ghosts.
Oh yeah, the original with Vincent Price, or
there's
the remake.
There's that one, but also the remake.
Mm-hmm.
The remake's pretty fun.
Is that Tony Shalhoub?
Yeah, Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, and the girl from Apple Pie, American Pie.
Yeah,
and Shaggy from Scooby Doo.
Yep.
I can't remember their names. I'm sorry, actors. We're never going to watch this. But the one I just rewatched, the one with Vincent Price, there was a couple pretty solid jump scares in there.
Yeah,
the story's a mess, but there was some really solid jump scares that I was really surprised by. I was in here watching the original 13 Ghosts, and I kind of went, whoa, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "This movie just scared me." So it's really worth it. Vincent Price, I think, super creepy. I mean, you can name any House on Haunted Hill. Great stuff. Would you say that there is let's do this remake that is on par with the original, or just like the kind of the first one that came to your brain of the remakes of any of these horror movies, where one is clearly better, even though it was made second, or the first one was better, something like that? It's a very loose laid question, but I think you know what I'm asking.
Okay, yeah. A few examples spring to mind, and I would say the American remake, The Ring, compared to Ringu, is probably superior.
Okay.
Okay. And as far as as horror franchises have gone on, I don't know, I might get some shit for this, but I think maybe the sequel to Texas Chainsaw might actually be better than the first.
Okay. I think that's really funny, because I was just thinking about sequels that were better than the first one, and I think I agree with you, but I understand why people would harumph about that. But I think that there's a sequel that's better than the original, not more iconic than the original, but just just like with the antagonist and the story, I think that Poltergeist 2 is just a little bit better than Poltergeist 1.
Yeah.
I think the old guy, the old preacher guy that comes in, it kind of like humanizes the bad guy and gives you an antagonist that's super creepy, but also like physical. You know what I mean? I think it, and when Craig T. Nelson is puking up the thing and the worm and the da 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 da, da it's super creepy. Not to say that Poltergeist 1 doesn't have a lot of great, the clown and the, you took away the headstones, but he didn't take away the bodies. I think one of the greatest lines in horror movies of all time. But I think that I think you're right that Chainsaw Massacre 2 is probably better than 1, and I would throw into the ring that Poltergeist 2 is better than Poltergeist 1. What do you think about Poltergeist 3? Let's just throw it out there.
It's a movie.
I mean, little Tommy Skerritt. You got
right.
Tom Skerritt in there, right? Yeah. I like that they changed the location.
Yes.
I think they would have to, and to have all those scary things happening in a high rise where all the thousands of people are living, but nobody else is noticing except for this family. I think it's an interesting concept. I'm going to stop at a positive right there. I do enjoy Poltergeist. I don't know if the ending holds up. If I remember correctly, that they were like struggling to find an ending to it. And they're like, let's just do this, this, and this, and they just kind of did it. Which is understandable, I guess. Movies are hard to end, because how do you end one with any kind of like satisfaction after like 2 or 3 movies? You know what I mean?
Right.
How do you end it after a series of movies where it was the first one was the ending, and then the second one's the ending, then the third one's the ending?
I mean, usually the logical conclusion is go to outer space, right?
But you got to have like a futuristic like silver mask instead of just the hockey mask. Oh my gosh, so bad. Looks so good though, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got Leprechaun. He's terrorizing people. There's like a small farmhouse. Then eventually you get to Vegas, and then why not take him to space?
Why not take him to space? I think that while those movies are like again so bad they're good movies, that you have to be in the right mindset to watch them, and you have to know what you're watching is bad.
Oh yeah.
And I think they knew what they were creating was bad.
I would hope so.
But again, so bad it's good. I mean, how many times can you have Jason walking through the woods? You know what I mean, and slashing people up? I mean, I guess 5 or 6 times, and then you're like, all right, now he's got to go to Manhattan. So I always like there was an old joke, and I don't remember where they said where it came from, but somebody was talking about Jason takes Manhattan back from the Muppets. And that was like a whole thing that people were talking. I don't remember where it came from. This was like in the 90s where people were talking about this, or maybe the early 2000s, where somebody had said something about Jason takes Manhattan back from the Muppets. And I thought, that's an amazing story. If I was Disney, I would jump on that right now. Could you imagine the Muppets running from, and then they like jump in, Jason like flinging the Muppets around? That would be amazing. So we might have to write that and send
absolutely.
That.
I just imagine like what was that? The one with Busta Rhymes. Was that Mike Myers? He's fighting. He's like trick or treat, and he
Busta
just
Rhymes. Wasn't he in one of the Leprechaun ones?
Ice Cube was.
That's right. Ice Cube was in one of them. But yeah, Busta Rhymes was it. Was it Trolls? Because there was the Trolls in the Hood.
That was Leprechaun in the Hood.
Oh, okay.
With Ice Cube.
Boy, I'm getting all these mixed up. All right,
Leprechaun has the great line, "A friend with weed is a friend indeed."
Oh my gosh. Again, so good. Like, there's not enough time to be able to watch all these movies if it's important enough, you're making the time, right? Well, it's important enough you make the time. But okay, so we went down a rabbit hole, but that's okay. I think one of my favorite movies, and I just kind of brought it up, and maybe it was like in the back of my brain, remembering to see, like seeing that on like public access television in the '80s, and watching something like Trolls or Critters. Remember Critters? It was always like such a good time on a Saturday afternoon. Like your friends would come over and you'd eat pizza and Pepsi and chips and watch Critters. And you're like, this is even better than Gremlins, when it is not.
but is it better than Ghoulies?
Huh? Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, wait. So let's put them in the categories here. Which one's better, Leprechaun or Troll? Just the original movies, the original
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun. Okay, I would agree, but I really have a soft place in my heart for Troll. I really do, just because it's like the pixie lady running around and the apartment building turning into like a forest. I thought it was really fun, and I watched it so many times on public access or whatever it was, public television, that it was really one of those ones that I almost had memorized when I was a kid. Okay,
Sonny Bono was in the first one, right? Or was he in Trolls 2?
No, I think he was in the first one. I think you're absolutely right. And there was another famous person, trying to remember the dad. Famous is a strong word, but well known. I might have to look up the IMDb of Troll, because Sonny Bono, which he was my first introduction to Sonny Bono.
What a wild introduction!
Yes, super wild. And I think it was my dad walked in and he's like, "That's Sonny Bono." And I said, "Who?" And he started telling me about Sonny. And we were a big musical family. My dad would always be playing music. We'd always be playing music and singing, super loud as kids. So the fact that, that had to be 1982, right? 1983.
I think so.
7 or 8 years old, and didn't really know who Sonny Bono was yet. And Sonny and Cher is really surprising to me. My dad, I can remember him walking in and going, "What are you watching?" He goes, "Why is Sonny Bono?" And it was kind of the same thing with not a horror movie, but Shelley Long and Ringo Starr in Caveman.
Oh, okay.
Caveman.
Yeah.
And again, I can remember watching that one, and my was Ringo Starr, and go, "Who's Ringo Starr, duh?" And he was, the drummer for the Beatles, and we knew the Beatles, but I didn't know their names. And that kind of got me to starting to know who, names of all these musicians and people that I had grown up with. So it was really funny to see these musicians in these so bad they're good movies. Okay, and then what was the other one we were just talking about there? It was not Ghoulies, right? Or what was the other one we were just talking about?
Critters? Chud?
Which one out of the three, which one do you think stands up the best at this point?
Probably Critters.
I'd say Critters too. Wasn't that the one where they rolled up into the ball and they'd roll into the thing?
Yeah.
And they have little spikes that they spit out, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'd go along with that. I still think worth watching, but you'd have to watch it through the guise of like Gen X, you know what I mean? because they were just spitting them out after Gremlins. They were just spitting them out, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we talked about slasher. We haven't talked about slashers. We brought them up, but we haven't talked about them yet. Who would you say, and I'm not going to ask you your favorite slasher movie, who would you say is the greatest slasher antagonist from that, I guess, 80s and 90s? I bet we could probably put Scream in there as well, right? That's the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, it was 96 was the first one.
I think you're right. So but for the whole 80s and 90s, that idea of slashers from the very beginning, which I would say is probably maybe Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then moving forward.
Yeah, because that was 78.
Yeah, and then it started getting to be like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees and all that. So I would say that's the start of. And then moving forward through the early 2000s, who would you say, like overall, I was about to say character arc, but I don't know if that's the right word because I don't know if they really, I don't know if you count they all have character arcs, but as characters and as antagonists and as ultimate bad guys, who would you say is the best in that genre? It's tough.
Oh, that is tough. So as a kid, my favorite was Jason.
Sure.
As I got older, I bounced back between the more supernatural slashers like Freddy Krueger.
Okay.
And I think maybe now, like, certainly the creepiest and almost the best well acted, almost to like a Shakespearean level of performance. Oh, wow. Pinhead.
Nice. That's so funny. As I was asking the question, I was like, should I say Pinhead out loud? But I was like, no, I think we've nailed that genre. And then, yeah, you bring up Pinhead. I would agree that Hellraiser probably had that gravitas that maybe in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe Freddy had that gravitas in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, but he didn't have it the way that Pinhead has it.
Right.
And I'd agree with that.
Because even as all those Hellraiser sequels went on, Pinhead largely stayed the same. Whereas you could argue that Freddy Krueger kind of got sillier as the sequels went on.
Yeah. Why do you think that if it started out as a horror, which you would say that because that didn't happen to Jason, I don't think, and that didn't happen to Mike Myers. Why do you think that Freddy Krueger started getting sillier because you talk about Dream Warriors, and while there's good stuff in Dream Warriors, the theme song alone is amazing.
Yes.
But when you think about Dream Warriors, it's definitely very campy and very silly.
Because that's the one he attacks the comic book artist.
Yeah.
And he turns himself into Super Freddy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I understand they want to maybe child it up, to make it a little more like PG-13 friendly, I guess, or PG friendly. But it seems like maybe, in my humble opinion, a waste of a character.
Yeah. And I mean, now that we brought up Robert Englund, I mean, he's finally getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Nice. Halloween Day.
Halloween. Oh, this Halloween on Friday? Yep. Oh, I didn't know it was happening on Friday. That's really awesome. Yeah, I heard there's getting a star on the Walk of Fame. I didn't know it was on Halloween. That's very fitting. That's awesome. And then how do you think that those, like the more campy goofiness of Freddy Krueger helped or hurt him in something like Jason versus Freddy?
I think it helped, especially if you're going to do a crossover where you're pitting him against, a silent killer. So it helps, at least just story-wise, to make it more entertaining to watch if someone talks.
Yeah, he was definitely very quippy to begin with, but once you get to Dream Warriors and Jason versus Freddy and was it Freddy sends Jason to hell? Something like that. Somebody sends somebody to hell.
Yeah, Jason Goes to Hell, which was the 9th one, right before Jason went to space and Jason X. They teased like a potential crossover as Jason's vanquished and there's like a beam of light and he gets sucked down into hell. And then like the last shot, like the camera pans down and you just see his mask. And then all of a sudden Freddy's claw comes up and grabs it and you hear him laugh and he drags it down.
That's awesome. I remember that now. Yeah. So much. It's hard to remember all the ins and outs of these, but yes, I definitely remember that. That was super fun. And I do agree that Freddy definitely was the comic relief in Freddy versus Jason, but also again, kind of got him back to that like pretty scary aspects of him to his roots. I mean, the character alone is pretty gross. A serial murder pedophile,
Yeah.
and then to try to kind of treat him as a bit of a joke. Not that they treated him as a joke, but they made the scripts got more campy as it went on. Kind of, I guess, does make a little sense when you're trying to reach a broader audience.
Yeah, they did until Wes tried to right the ship again.
Mm-hmm.
With A New Nightmare.
Yeah.
Where it went meta, but like they brought Freddy back,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like the old Freddy, where it was more scary and less the jokey, quippy.
That's the one where he was haunting and into the real world of the real world of the actors that were in the original series, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And I do think that, from what I remember, I do think that worked to be able to kind of like seriousify. Is that a word?
It is now.
It is now. We did it. English is a fluid language. Seriousify Freddy Krueger to be able to get him to a place where he was a bona fide, again, slasher, killer, horror guy.
Yeah.
I think. What would you say is so let's do this then. The worst scene in, we could say any of these slasher flicks. There's so many that you look at and you're like, oh my gosh. they could have maybe taken a few minutes on that, or a different camera angle, made it a little darker or something like that. But doesn't mean they're not fun. Doesn't mean we don't enjoy them. But there are a few times you're like, that's a little questionable. It doesn't quite hold up. Could you think of any scenes in any of the slasher flicks that don't quite hold up?
Oh. Well, I mean, there's, the tried and true, was it the moment from Trolls 2 where the long, like, zoom in?
Yeah. Like, dude, you had 4 minutes to run. What are you standing there for?
He just wanted his Macaulay Culkin moment. That's all.
Yeah. Super funny. The one that came to me, we were talking about Freddy Krueger, and it's the one, I believe it's the original one, where and the idea is so solid, and if they did it in 2025, it would look really good. But the balloon mom through the door, the whole thing,
yeah,
and not for 1980. What was that? 1984? Not bad. And I think the idea was good. It just that like the graphics hadn't quite reached the level to be able to make that, scary enough. But again, that's just my opinion. What do I know?
Thinking back on that moment now, that effect really didn't hold up too well.
And I think they knew it at the time. Like, you listen to, some of the producers and the directors, you listen to the commentary and stuff, and you see behind the scenes stuff. They're like, yeah, we knew it didn't really work, but we didn't have any other ending.
Right.
So we might as well just go. The other ending was them just driving off. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the ending was that his car top, was in a convertible, and his car top comes up, and it's the red and the green of Freddy's sweater, and that was supposed to be like the Freddy laughing in the background, like Freddy was still there. But I think test audiences didn't really connect with test audiences, so that's why they added the mom being sucked through the peephole at the very end, because they wanted something a little more dramatic, a little more like, oh, Freddy, is coming back, or Freddy's not dead, or whatever it is. So at least that's what I remember.
Yeah, I wonder if you asked test audiences today between the two, which one they would think would hold up.
That's an interesting. That's a really, like, if you find a test audience from something that was like company noted to death, you know what I mean, from like 30 years ago, and you show the same movie without the company notes, the same movie that test audience saw, to a test audience today that had never seen that movie, would you get the same response? Like, would they give the same notes? That's an interesting thing. Pick a movie that has had, company noted to death. That's That's an interesting thing that maybe Hollywood should be doing. I don't
Yeah,
know.
take note, Hollywood, if you're watching this.
Write it down, Hollywood people. Jerks.
Take that, Hollywood.
We got you. Nailed you. All right. So I asked the worst scene. We got to go positive. We have to stay positive. What's the best scene from any of those 80s slashers that stand out in your brain that's like, that was really good? It doesn't have to be scary. It can be just like a scene of spooky or memorable or things like that from any of those slasher genres.
Right. Oh, wow. I think a moment that's just like burned in my brain is from the original Hellraiser.
Okay.
And I think it's when Uncle Frank is getting pulled apart by all the hooks.
Mm-hmm.
And his face is like stretched out, like just like almost to cartoonish proportions.
Mm-hmm.
And he just utters like the line, "Jesus wept." And then he's just
torn apart. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I really like that. It's so funny because remembering these things, I wouldn't say that Hellraiser was one of my favorites growing up, but as I got a little older, started to appreciate it a little bit more. Started to like see it from a little different lens. I don't really know why, because it had everything I liked. I don't know if I give specifics, but I had everything I liked, but didn't really grow to appreciate. It's kind of like, and this is horror based, so I can say it's kind of like the band Kiss.
Okay.
When I was growing up, even into my 20s, Kiss, yeah, okay, I know, Party All Night and whatever it is, Sleep All Day, Party All Night, the big song that they had. I even saw them in concert in, let's see, I had to be 26 or 27. My wife and I would go watch Poison would come to town every year. So for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, we would go see Poison. One year, Poison, and they would always have 80s bands open up for them. It was Winger and Whitesnake and Def Leppard and Journey. So we'd see all these bands. Cinderella was amazing. Awesome. We'd see all these bands open up for Poison. Well, one year, Poison opened up for Kiss. And Poison rocked like they always do. And then Kiss came on, and I'm like, meh, okay. Like, it was fine. And we enjoyed the concert. Everything was great. But I wouldn't say it was maybe like 10 years later that I really started to understand, I guess is the wrong word. Maybe just enjoy Kiss and their music. And it might have been at the turning point. Maybe it was like hearing their like Unplugged, which is so like, if you like Kiss, it's so like such a stupid thing to say. Because their Unplugged is not Kiss. But to be able to hear that and to be able to go back and listen to Kiss live and listen to all the other Kiss albums. So it's kind of the same thing. I didn't really appreciate Hellraiser as much as I do when I was a kid, as much as I do now. So I don't know why. Just one of those things. Is there anything that you've watched back that you thought was better than you remember it being?
So I'm going to say the original Child's Play.
Nice.
Because, of course, seeing it as a kid, it freaked the hell out of me. Because, you start looking at, any type of, like, I don't know, action figure or, like, doll, or, like, I had a ventriloquist doll.
Oh.
So, like, I'm looking at that, and it would give me nightmares after watching, like, Child's Play, that it would, like, come to life and try to kill me.
Sure.
But, so as a horror movie, I think it was very effective. Just for scaring, the crap out of me as a kid. But the older I get, going back and watching it, especially like becoming a filmmaker, looking at it going, wow, like the way they filmed that to achieve like this doll coming to life and like just understanding the animatronics behind it, having, Ed, I can't think of his last name. Uh, uh, Actor, little person, dress up
Mhm.
as, Chucky with the big Chucky head,
Mhm.
shot at a distance, running, makes it look very realistic, like
Yeah.
hyper realistic that this
Yeah.
doll came to life.
Yeah. I think that's another one too that got a little campy as the series went on.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
not a little, I guess, a lot campy. I was trying to be kind. But again, kind of understandable because it's a doll, you know what I mean? And while that first one, again, was very grounded in let's make this super as scary as we can make it. Um, I think again, that idea of like Richard Donner when he was first coming up with Superman. Like Superman was always kind of like played not as jokey as Batman was, but every time it was just like it's a superhero comic. Who cares? Just go shoot it, whatever, whether
Mhm.
it's TV series, whatever it was. But he used the term verisimilitude, which means taking it seriously, taking the content as seriously and as grounded in the real world as you possibly can. And I think for those kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street and for Chucky, Child's Play, I think the first ones really grounded it. And then as they kind of moved forward and wanted to make more money with all the sequels, they're just kind of like, let's just do this and this and this and this, and let's just make money with it and let's just call it a day. Which again, how does that affect the character? What could the character have become if it was taken with a little bit more verisimilitude?
Right.
Good or bad, I don't know.
Yeah,
Would it have
that's
lasted
that's
12
a good point.
series?
Um, I mean, you can kind of see it with the evolution of Child's Play because you had the first three somewhat more serious,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get Bride of Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
It starts to become a joke.
Yeah.
Seed of Chucky, very jokey.
Yeah.
But then, like in recent years, you had like the Chucky TV series,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you compare that, like where it continued, you know, Brad Dourif's Chucky being, what he became,
Mm-hmm.
versus a remake of Child's Play where he had Mark Hamill voicing Chucky, and Chucky, instead of doing it like a soul through voodoo being put into a doll, it was they Small Soldiers the plot,
Hmm.
where it was like a defective munitions chip inside of this smart doll
Okay.
that
I,
grew
I
too
didn't know that.
attached.
Yeah, the voodoo kind of worked a little bit in the first one there. I was like, okay, I can get behind that. That's fine. But I didn't know about the default chip. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. So the remake tried to update it with, just the way technology is going, plus taking it back so that it was more of a serious
Mhm.
horror film.
Mhm.
Kind of worked, but almost kind of hurt it because fans of the others were just like, yeah, we love Mark Hamill, but he's
Mhm.
not Brad Dourif. Why isn't Chucky, like, give Chucky his personality back?
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Kind of shot him in the foot by trying to make it serious again. Hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, even you look at we were just talking about Scream, like, and we just rewatched Scream for just Halloween. We watched scary movies, the week or 2 weeks leading up to Halloween. Um, but very, very jokey throughout the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Very like, well,
It's
it's scary and all that kind of stuff. But
it's a satire
mm,
of like the highest order to horror filmmaking, but like filmmaking in general. And
mhm.
it's a wonderful movie. Like
Yeah,
I love Scream.
yeah, it really does hold up. The first scene, you know what I mean, would do it just like the tension just keeps building and building and building, really, and to be able to have, and I didn't really catch it when I was first watching it, 20 years ago, whatever it was, um, how close, and as a father now, how close the parents are to saving their child in the beginning. Like they are literally turn the corner, save your child. And clearly done on purpose. But that was something that before I was a father, I was just paying attention to the girl getting murdered. But now as a father, looking back going, the parents are right there. They're right there. Like they are turning, all she has to do is this, and she'll see her child being drugged through the grass. Just, again, interesting that 20 years later, seeing it from a different viewpoint, and how it can adjust the story for you. Knowing that the dad was never the killer. that dad's not a killer. Or at least in my brain, I was like, that dad's not the killer. That dad's just trying to make it through this day. He didn't have all this. He didn't have the right. He's just trying to get through his day. He doesn't have the strength to kill all these people. He doesn't care that much. Like he just wants his daughter to just go to school. So fun. So we have about 10 minutes left. So when we started talking about, oh my gosh, we don't have 10 minutes. We have about 5 minutes left. When we started talking about doing this horror movie, we were talking about the characters that are now in public domain that they keep making into horror movies. You already brought up Popeye. We talked a little bit about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which I think are super fun horror movies. 3 Popeye horror movies, amazing. I think I only watched the first one. I know I only watched the first one. But we talked a little bit about characters that are coming into the public domain and what would be a character that you would want to turn into a horror character that's entering the public domain in the next 10 years-ish or so.
Oh, wow. She might already be in the public domain. Betty Boop?
I was going to say, you said she. I was like, yep, it's got to be Betty Boop. Yeah, that'd be super fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen Betty Boop cartoons, and pretty risque for cartoons, from the 30s, 40s, whatever it was. But I don't know how many. Can you name one side character from a Betty Boop cartoon that you just automatically know their name?
It's been too long.
Yeah, it's Betty Boop's clearly, and there was a musical Betty Boop. I think it's still on Broadway now. So there are people she's still universal. Like people know who Betty Boop is, but I think that'd be really fun to do a Betty Boop horror movie. There was I think they already did one, Steamboat Willie.
Yeah,
Mickey Mouse one. Is it called Steamboat Willie? Have you seen that one?
Is it Screamboat?
Screamboat, just Screamboat or Screamboat Willie?
I think it might just be Screamboat.
Okay.
Or maybe that's the tagline for the film.
Okay. I've got to see that one. First of all, it's super fun.
But I think, you know what? I think it is Screamboat.
Okay.
And then it's like the caption is like full scream ahead.
Perfect. In my brain, the black and white, because they need to make it black and white, but everything's black and white except for the blood. Right? The blood would be in color.
That would be cool. So you'd want to Frank Miller this.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Let's get Frank on the phone. Let's get him working on this right now.
Let me call that guy. Frank, if you're listening, give us a call. We've got this all under control. Yeah, there was another one too I was thinking about as we were doing this. I don't know if he's in the public domain. He's getting pretty close. Maybe some of his first iterations are in public domain, but Woody Woodpecker would be super fun, I think, to do as a horror.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I think he doesn't really need anything
other
so
than manic, it's terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. And the beak is how he kills people, so he doesn't even need he's already got his weapon, and the stripes on the legs, and the big hair. Forget about it. It writes itself. And if he's killing, the vulture and the walrus and Chilly Willy the penguin, super fun.
Yeah, when Chilly Willy dies, we all riot.
It's true. It's true. Chilly Willy's got to be the hero that rises. Right? He's got to be the hero that rises. But a fun one too, I think, would be Tom and Jerry. What if Jerry was the serial killer and Tom had to like was stopping him. So like a little role reversal there.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that take.
I don't know. So much you could do with these characters once they hit public domain. That what if Sherlock Holmes was always the murderer and he frames all these people? Right?
Wow.
What if Sherlock Holmes did all of them and he was just smart enough to frame everybody else? The most prolific serial killer of them all. And not even Watson knew.
That would be something. Turn Watson into more of the hero, the main hero, and he's a doctor of psychology.
Yeah. Yeah. What if they're like one of their last cases? Something happens. Like Sherlock Holmes is maybe he's getting a little dementia, but he's still pretty smart. But something happens, and Watson just says that little like, "What?" Yeah, and that's like the turning point to Watson realizing that Sherlock Holmes is the murderer of all of them.
Maybe he has a split personality, and the serial killer is Moriarty.
Possibly. Nice. I think you'd have to go back and see how many times you see Moriarty and Sherlock Holmes together with other people in the room. Because then you could say they were the same person.
Mm-hmm.
But if Watson, is maybe turning a blind eye on some level, maybe Watson is a figment of Sherlock Holmes' imagination. So it doesn't really matter what Watson sees. So Watson is inconsequential.
Yeah.
Hollywood, get on. We're copywriting it right now.
It's all that opium that Holmes did.
That's it. Oh man, you just connected the whole. He was in charge of the opium distribution for all of Whitechapel, and he's killing these people because they were going to try to stop him with the Baskervilles. They were the original ones that were getting the opium into Whitechapel, into all of England. So he destroys the Whitechapel or the Baskerville name to be able to take over their opium distribution center. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on to something.
This is something. It's so something that it kind of makes me think somebody's already done it. So I'm gonna have to look into it. Oh my gosh! So we're past 8 o'clock here. So thank you so much for being on the show. We had talked earlier about having a weird fact at the end because we're out of left field, and this whole episode has been out of left field, and I love it. So do you have a weird fact that you can state for the end of our out of left field horror movie show?
A weird fact. None that come to mind.
That's okay. I have one that we talked about. I can remember it.
Okay.
Scotland's national animal is the unicorn.
That is fantastic.
That's pretty weird, isn't it? I didn't know that.
It is.
I didn't know that. I think it'd be like a ram or a goat or something like that. But
Scotland is a magical place.
It's magical. You don't know what's up in those Highlands, man. You don't know what's up in those Highlands. There could be unicorns still. We'll find them. We'll find them. Well,
how great would Braveheart have been if you had Mel Gibson riding into battle on a unicorn?
Nice. It'd be amazing. They wouldn't need those big spears. You just drop the unicorn head down, and oh boy, you'd have it. You'd have it. Well, thank you so much. It's past our time here. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you on. You get the last word here. What anything to plug? Anything? Anybody want to say hi to? If you want to give Kim and Lucas a shout out, you can do that.
Oh, absolutely. I love sharing, stories of my family and how cute my kid is. So yes, Kim and Lucas, I love you both.
Awesome. Tell them I said hi, and thank you again so much for being on the show. It was a fun hour. It was a week. We could have talked for another hour, but
we could.
Unfortunately, bedtime is approaching fairly quickly for me. So again, thank you everybody for coming on and saying hi. We really had a lot of fun talking about horror movies. If you think of your favorites, your least favorites, your best scene, your worst scene, and you want to throw them in the comments underneath, go for it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, Correct Handed Comics, and go to correcthandedcomics.com to be able to find all the cool stuff that I've been making over the last couple years. And Will and I have some stuff coming up that hopefully will see the light of day, hopefully see fruition.
Hopefully.
That we've been talking about over the next, might take us 5 or 6 years, but we got some stuff brewing, so it's going to be super fun. And thank you again, Will, for coming on, and thank you everybody for watching this next episode of Outer Left Field. Don't get left out.